Now, let's discuss what strategy you should adopt while they're in examination for IELTS listening. So, the first and the basic point you always have to keep in your mind is you always need to stay calm because you're not there to score band 9. Band 9 is not required by any candidate on this planet. So, you always get some margin of mistakes. If you lose the track of audio for one question, or if you find yourself unable to solve any question, one or two or three, you don't have to freak out because you're not there to score band 9. You got margin to lose some of the questions. So stay calm. There are other questions that you can solve. The second thing I want you to keep in mind all the time that paper is your primary tool. The rough paper you get on the top of your desk is your primary tool to keep track of the audio. Sometimes it's not possible to listen to the audio and at the same time process all the information on the screen to solve a question. In such scenarios, as we discussed in different techniques to solve questions, just use the paper to record information, because in the start I said before the even the test starts you have to write down the numbers for all the questions. So when you have to write down some information about any of the questions, you already have a reference number for the questions so that you may use this information later to solve those questions. The third thing that you must never miss is that there is always 2 minutes extra time at the end of the test. 2 minutes extra time is a lot to solve some of the questions which you couldn't while listening to the audio. So at the end of the test, when you get 2 minutes time and you've got all the information written on the paper, you can solve as many as 10 questions. So stay calm and trust your technique and use paper as your primary tool to keep track of all the important information that audio gives you. The fourth point is we don't need to rely solely on our memory for every type of questions. Again, it's the same thing in different words. So don't try to overstress yourself by trying to solve the questions right there and then, because you got a paper, you can note down some of the information. If it is not possible to solve the questions at the time, you can just know the information and come later to solve the questions. And the fifth thing is you should stay calm because you have learned the techniques to solve every type of questions in IELTS listening, and you've practiced them number of times. What, because you know the technique and because you've successfully practiced it a lot of time, so it'll be easy for you in this exam as well. So there is no need to be uh, panic or stressed, and if you stay calm you can perform better. Number six to remember and listening in the listening exam, audio is always the primary thing. You can never ignore audio. You can ignore some of the text at the moment, but you can never ignore audio. Always focus more than 70% of your attention to the audio. If the test allows you to solve the questions on the spot, do it. But sometimes, like in MCQs in section 3 or in matching information type of questions or map labeling type of questions, never try to solve the questions on the spot. Just record some important information from audio on your paper, on your rough paper. And you can solve these questions later because you got plenty of time at the end of the test. Okay, and the last thing, as you've learned the techniques to solve all of these questions and you've practiced them a lot, you need to use the techniques to solve the questions in exact those steps. So always try to follow the steps because all those tiny steps are carefully designed and they always help to solve the questions accurately. So I wish you all the best for your listening exam because what you've learned is really valuable, and what you've learned makes you quite capable in solving all the complex type of questions in IELTS listening. And with this knowledge, with this skill, with this set of skills, with this knowledge, and with this practice, you are going to win. So good luck for your listening exam.